welcome back to week 2 of our April Carnivore Challenge. Y'all, I'm so excited about this because we have 30 days. We are locked into the carnivore style of eating. I'm going to show you how to make it super sustainable for you and give you tips and tricks to feed your family if they are not carnivore and help you stay on track, okay? Because just because you go carnivore doesn't mean that everybody else does, and you have to find simple ways to sustain that within your family. So we're going to do just that. So getting started, I have a ton of videos and resources here which you can reference back. But today I wanted to go ahead and talk through some of the challenges you may experience in the first week or two while showing you how to make some pork panko, let me clarify, some pork panko crusted tilapia with a delicious cream sauce and some sautéed shrimp on top. It's a delicious meal. It's not as quick. It is super easy, but it's not as quick as some of my recipes. So it'll be a good one for us to walk through. Okay, first things first, I have some eggs. I don't know about y'all. I've been prioritizing my eggs and like keeping them pristine because they're so expensive. And now these have actually expired because I delayed doing a lot of them. So if you look at here, it says that they were expired, right? But there's a surefire way to see if your eggs are indeed expired. So I have a cup of water here. And if you put your egg inside the water and it floats and it does not sink to the bottom, which this one is floating now, it is, I think it's floating. Oh, no, it did sink. Is it down at the bottom? It's down at the bottom. Okay, so it completely sunk, so it's still good. If it floats, y'all, throw them all away. They're bad. You've missed peak on your eggs. Okay, so whenever I am frying something on the carnivore diet, what I'm actually frying is I'm going to use pork, which is just pork chicharrones, pork skins that have been fried up, crushed into a powder as my substitute flour. And I'm going to season it up. Some people do not use seasonings on carnivore. I am not one of those people. So I have to make it sustainable long-term for me. And so this is what I do. Okay, so you're going to want to set up 3 dredging stations. And what I mean by that is I'm going to get 3 bowls. I'm going to move some of my seasonings out of the way here. I'm going to get 3 bowls. Your first bowl is going to have an egg that we just tried, and it was good. Just a second, let me grab. I'm going to go ahead and grab some paper towels real quick here. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a little bit of water in there, and we're just going to beat that up real quick. This almost becomes like the glue, right, that holds all of your breading in place. You would do this if you were eating just a traditional American diet too and you were frying something. So I'm Southern. It's like in our DNA. We know how to do this. Okay, so that is your first station. The second one, what I love to do is typically you would go from this into flour. Flour doesn't work for us, right? So let me go ahead and grab from the pantry. This is the unflavored Equip protein powder isolate, okay? Whey-free. People usually don't have issues with it. And I love it because it adds like a little bit of protein in where you normally wouldn't have it. Okay, so I'm going to take about 1 scoop and I'm going to put it in here. And everything needs to have flavor layered into it, right? So we are going to take some Redmond real salt. It's really the only salt I use. I even have little travel ones. I'd say half a teaspoon of that. And we are going to mix it just like so. The end. You know what? I think I'm actually going to grab some Old Bay. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm actually going to grab some Old Bay on this. I'm going to do about no, that's probably a teaspoon into this. I love Old Bay flavoring for anything seafoody. So this is going to be fantastic. Okay, so that's going to be our initial one, right? So we are going to go from here into here, back into here, and then finally into our panko combination. So I am going to put some panko out here, and I'm going to do almost equal parts of this with your good old cheap Parmesan. And I'm almost going to do equal parts. I'm going to do a little less cheese. And then I'm going to go in with some Italian seasoning because I'm going to do like an herby cream sauce. So I'd say that's about, we probably went in with about a tablespoon. I am going to go in with some onion as well, some powdered onion. but I'm only going to do about a teaspoon because it can really overtake it pretty quickly. And then y'all, If you don't like garlic, definitely don't lean into my suggestions because I love garlic and I kind of use it to the point that it's very pungent. So I'm going to hold back here and put just a really full teaspoon of it in. You do have some good salt content already because you have the Parmesan in there and you put the salt over in here. So I'm going to be honest, I'm probably not going to add any salt to this mixture. And we're just going to want to incorporate it really well. Now that all three of these are kind of prepped and ready to go, you are ready to assemble your tilapia. One of the things that I will say real quickly, just on the carnivore diet in general, you are able to enjoy super fatty cuts of meat. You are able to enjoy very decadent meals. You have butter, you have heavy whipping cream, you have really good Parmesan and other cheeses. That means your body becomes fat adapted, right? And you're using those fats to fuel your body for energy. It's very important that you remember that at this stage, when we are doing 30 days clean, getting really, locked into carnivore, that if you cheat and if you don't stay consistent, your body then is struggling to prioritize burning through the carbs that you ate that are not part of the diet, right? And it's not going to burn through the fat. It will start storing. So I do think, unfortunately, carnivore is like keto in the fact that there is a certain level of adherence you have to stick to for a very long time for your body to become fat adapted, for you to enjoy that decrease in inflammation and all of those wonderful things that carnivore brings along. But you do have to stay consistent to be able to really reap the benefits of that at the beginning. Some diets, a lot of people will do Whole30 or they'll do low calorie and they end up going into, having a cheat day. This is just not one of those diets. So I'm hoping that with a lot of these different recipes, we have the ability to bring in some different flavor profiles so that you don't end up with flavor fatigue on, just having the ribeye every day, which is delicious. But just like the Israelites with their manna, even when you're hungry, and at first, whenever you feel that need, you kind of get bored with the same thing over and over again. So this is what this is intended for. Okay, so we're going to do two different methods of cooking of this tilapia. The first one, I preheated my air fryer to 375 and it's been going. We are going to dredge these and I'll show you how to do that. Stack them on a plate, take them, put them in the air fryer. Then the other way we're going to do it, I have 6 total. So I'm going to do 3 in the air fryer and I'm going to do 3 in a skillet, and you'll be able to see very quickly how they cook up. So let's go ahead and get started. So while we always want to think consistency over perfection, I will tell you that if you can, it would be much better for you to have a Quest protein bar that is still considered like dirty keto than for you to kind of go whole hog and have a cupcake or a traditional cookie or something like that, because it can stall and actually stop forward progress for a while. People who have been, fat adapted for several years can possibly, skirt that issue. But it's something to be aware of. I will tell you, one of the downsides of doing any seafood in my home, which is why I typically eat seafood out, is I just don't like the smell, y'all. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to take out all of our tilapia right here. I'm going to lay it here on the side. I am going to season because, again, you want a flavor profile throughout. I'm going to season all of these. And my son's in the kitchen, so I'm going to ask him, Mac, will you grab the shrimp? There's if you open up the right side of the fridge, right drawer, there should be, right drawer, there you go. There should be shrimp. Perfect. And then I'm going to have him stand over here real quick. And can you open, my hands are gross. So can you open up those shrimp? And y'all, it's going to get real in here real quick and like a disgusting smell. Okay. So I am going to grab out the shrimp. I'm going to put them out here as well, because what we're going to do is I'm going to actually, a lot of people would tell you just season and go with these, but they're kind of moist. I love shrimp, y'all. I love seafood. I love all of it. I don't like dealing with it, ugh, so gross. So gross. The things we do for our family. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and grab some paper towels, and I'm going to, like anything I would do when I'm doing chicken, I grab paper towels and I try to get all the excess moisture off of it. This is something that if you were doing a stock, it would be great. Throw it in the pot and make a good stock with it. That's not what we're doing, folks. So I'm going to try to get all the moisture off these suckers. I made my life easier. If you want to get them to peel and devein and all those things, by all means, knock yourself out. That is definitely not, we're trying to do things super simple here. So this is going to be a very decadent meal that's going to taste like a really good, nice restaurant. And it's just not going to be all the prep work, okay? So I'm going to grab some more paper towels, and we're just going to dab these off. Okay, tilapia was on sale at my local H-E-B. So if you have a problem with tilapia, if you think it's too dirty, if you don't like the farm raised, by all means, get a fish that you like. I like tilapia because it's very subtle. It doesn't have a fishy taste because I don't actually enjoy fish. I tell myself I do, but I don't. I really actually just use it as a vehicle for the sauce that I'm going to make. But it's just something to be aware of. So if you have, a lot of people have problems with tilapia, again, definitely do what works for you. And if you have something that's on sale, if Dover's on sale, I don't know very many fish, y'all, but cod, halibut, anything else?
Catfish.
Redfish would be good. Catfish, I can't do catfish, and I'm Southern, and I just can't do it. So if I have if my friends are on here from Louisiana, sorry, but I cannot do catfish. Although this cooking technique would be great for it if you like it. Okay, so I am patting that all dry. I'm going to take off one of my gloves because you don't need to be having a glove on, touching everything with your glove on once you've touched that stuff. So I'm going to take Old Bay. Did you like how I almost grabbed it with my hand? And I'm going to put some Old Bay across all of these because Max here and he's like, you love it. I do love Old Bay. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with my Redmond salt. Because if you get this layers, you're going to hear me saying this over and over again, but really and truly, it's all about the layers of flavor that you build in this profile, right? And I'm going to go ahead and take the time to flip these over. And this is going to be, that's like I said, it's the most time consuming portion of all of it. It's just making sure you build this flavor in. And I'll be honest, I make the sauce a little different every single time. And so we're just going to wing it on the sauce today. I think it's fun to try new things and see how the flavor profile works out with it. My basic cream sauce is always like heavy whipping cream. I cut through the thickness of that with half and half. And then I usually add a little bit of the whipped cream cheese. And if I don't have heavy whipping cream, you can just do whipped cream cheese, like 2 tablespoons with your half and half, y'all. And it's delicious as well. So if you see any skin or anything like that you want to take off, go ahead and pick that off right now. Okay, and we're just going to do a little bit more of the Old Bay. Oh, I think I'm running out. I'll have to. I seasoned the ones that actually have more Old Bay, but it's fine. We'll just, in the interest of time, we'll just kind of go from this. Okay, so I'm going to actually grab a plate. Okay, these shrimp are just going to be sauteed up in some butter, and they're going to make the base for our sauce. So for the tilapia, you are going to dredge it through your egg wash, and then you're going to go, should have done these on plates, y'all. You're going to go, ooh, did you like that? That was ridiculous. I'm going to have to move this to a plate. Mac, will you get me another plate? Okay. Okay. We're just going to coat this down because I already know that these tilapias are too big. Thank the good Lord for the dishwasher, am I right? Okay. So I always like to err on the side of having too little flour and not wasting it because we're using some protein powder in this. Okay, I'm going to smooth this out and then we're going to go straight into it, right? And I'm going to coat it just like that. And you know what, Mac, I'm going to need another plate. I can't imagine why my kids don't like helping with filming. I put them to work the whole time. Thanks, sweetie. Okay, so I'm going to dust the excess off. I'm going to look on this side and kind of, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to have Mac grab some parchment paper here. Just open up the drawer, grab out the parchment paper, take it over that way. Okay, that's enough. Tear it there. So what he's going to do is we're going to actually, I know how big my air fryer is, right? So I'm going to lay this straight down on that parchment, knowing that that's how it's going to go into my air fryer. Like that, like so. And then we're going to do our final one. I'm going to get the smaller one here. So if I can encourage you in any way, it would be to get out there, try new things, right? Especially in this carnivore journey. And don't be afraid of messing up, because when you're mixing cheese and heavy whipping cream and meat and butter, y'all, I don't know that it can be bad, really. Like, that one is done and ready to go into the air fryer. Okay, so we're just going to pop these in the air fryer. Like I said, I have the Ninja air fryer. It's at 375. It has been preheating. So I'm just going to grab, obviously don't burn yourself, but we're going to lay them in. You want to show them real quick how it is? They're laid out there perfectly. We're going to put it right back in. And then I'm going to adjust this because I don't want to let this go for 17 minutes and then be like, oh my gosh, I burned everything. So we're going to turn this down to 10 minutes and we're going to say, whoop, I'm going to say start. So there you go. And so here, I'm going to put my shrimp over here on the side so that we have everything ready for the skillet when we go into the other kitchen. Medium high heat. I'm going to get this pretty much going pretty intensely. And then on the other one here, I'm going to get this burner, I'll get the word eventually, going on here, and we're going to do our shrimp on here. And then when our shrimp get finished, we're going to move them off to the side and build our sauce in this pan, okay? A quick way to see if your pan is hot is you take a little water, pop it in there. Don't get close when you pop it in there. And then whenever, or you can touch the pan, and you always lay it away from you, okay? So whenever we're putting things in a very hot skillet, you lay it away from you. And what I was hoping is that I'd have enough to be able to put this one in. See, on this side. And then on this side, we're going to go ahead and put down our shrimp. Okay. So we're going to let these go. We're going to let them get pink and almost start looking opaque. And then we're going to flip them over. And I'm going to remove them back onto a plate so that we can move them off to the side while we finish our sauce. Okay, this has only been going for about 1 or 2 minutes, but look at that. You flip it over and you have that beautiful pink with a little bit of char on it, which I love. If I had some white wine, I would deglaze it with that. But what we have is some red wine. I just don't think red wine is going to be as good. We may not deglaze it. We might just use some beef broth. That's what I think I'll use. Okay. I'm going to let those go for another minute, and you can almost see on the side here, they start getting opaque. Okay, now I'm going to come back over to our tilapia, and this is the one that I set down first. So I actually have a fish spatula, and I have massacred this one. There we go. It did not stick at all, y'all. So the egg would have been very important on these. I have massacred these. I love showing you the realness of this because this did not plan out the way that I wanted it to, but I will show you that it really doesn't matter. It's still going to be delicious. Maybe about 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take all of the shrimp off, and I'm going to turn this down to low, but these shrimp are done. They are done. They look magnificent and beautiful, enough to give everybody about 3 shrimp on top of their tilapia. It should be delicious. I'm going to turn this down to a simmer because when I pour the beef broth in here, y'all, it is going to sound something fierce, okay? So let's go ahead and get some beef broth and pour it in here. So that's about a quarter cup. I'm going to go ahead and put some, as I almost burned myself, butter in here. And I'm putting about a little less than a stick of butter in. And I'll be honest, since I use beef broth, I'm going to put just a tad of red wine in there. It's just going to add a really, really good sweetness to it. And then we are going to, I'm turning it up to high simmer, and we're going to start working that butter into the sauce. And we're going to put some whipped cream cheese in here as well. I would say about a good almost 2 tablespoons in here. And y'all, it may not look pretty now, but it's going to. Trust the process. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn this fish off back here. I am going to add a little bit of salt, add a little bit of garlic powder, which will be delicious. Incorporate this back in. And we're just going to whisk this really good because the cream cheese, the whipped cream cheese is actually amazing for this because it incorporates so much quicker because it has so much air whipped into it than if you had just like solid block cream cheese. It would take so much more to try to get this incorporated. So we added some garlic, we added the cream cheese, we added the butter. We're going to go in here and we deglazed with the beef and the wine, the beef broth and the wine. I'm going to add some half and half back in here. And the very last thing we'll do with it is we'll add some Parmesan. And y'all, it's going to be chef's kiss. We're going to add about a half a cup of half and half into that. But you notice that I just kind of eyeball these things. Let's back up to low because I kind of want to get it really kind of warmed through now that we have all those good bits mixed up. And I'm going to go grab some Parmesan. Okay, so I'm about to add about a half a cup of Parmesan into here. Now, if you have just like a Kraft Parmesan, that's fine. Usually what I do is I add a little bit of Kraft and then I go in with like a really, really good Parmigiano Reggiano or just a good Parmesan that's a fresh one from the deli area. So we're going to let this thicken for a little bit. I'm going to let this sit and kind of thicken, and we're going to put a little bit more Parmesan in just a minute. When I talk about the nicer Parmesan, I'm talking about this where it's just like powder dusted. And I'm going to go ahead and add about a third of a cup in there, or quarter cup, sorry, in there. Kind of thickened up quite a bit. So we're going to let it, when you take the heat off of it, it's really going to start to thicken up on you, which is nice. We turned off the heat. I'm going to add some parsley in on this, guys, because I just think it just looks really pretty when you add some parsley at the end to brighten it up, since it's a little bit darker because we added that beef broth. Okay. There you go. So, like I said, while not the prettiest fillet right here, let's go ahead and put some of the delicious sauce on top. Do that. We can end up making it look pretty with our shrimp on top. And that's the finished product. So the crispy skin, y'all, is like delicious. It's good. It is really good. And even though the coating that we put on fell off, it's still there and it's still crisp. So it's like really delicious. It is. And it kind of cooked up really nice in there, which is great. Because the one thing I worry about with fish is it ever done. And this is nice and it's flaky and fall apart. It is very good. Okay. Ooh, okay. So much better than how we did it on the stove top. So, ooh, it's nice and crispy. So it's got that good crisp. We're going to go in with some of our sauce. We're going to pour it across. That sauce is money, y'all. It is so delicious. We're going to top it off with these beautiful shrimp. And you know what? We'll do one more for good measure. And then I think what's really nice is to just do a quick little sprinkle of parsley on top and just a little salt bay of parmesan. And y'all, look at that. It is gorgeous. It was a lot of work, but it was gorgeous. And I think the work was worth it. I definitely think air fryer is the way to go on this, or maybe sear in the skillet and put in the oven. These ended up taking about 10 minutes per side at 375. So maybe I should have done them a little bit higher and less on each side. So, but we're going to go ahead and try this and see how it goes. We'll get everybody's results. Results are in and it was a hit. So if you decide to make this, please tag me in the comments.